There was once an old man, and he had only one son, and that son was called Anartek, but he had many daughters. They were very fond of going out reindeer hunting to the eastward of their own place in a fjord, and when they came right to the base of the fjord, Anartek would let his sisters go up the hillside to drive the reindeer, and when they drove them so, those beasts came out into the big lake, where Anartek could row out in his kayak and kill them all. Thus, in a few days, they had their umiak filled with meat and could go home again. One day, when they were out reindeer hunting, as was their custom, and the reindeer had swum out, and Anartek was striking them down, he saw a calf, and he caught hold of it by the tail and began to play with it. But suddenly, the reindeer heaved up its body above the surface of the water and kicked at the kayak so that it turned over. He tried to get up, but could not, because the kayak was full of water, and at last he crawled out of it. The women looked up at him from the shore, but they could not get out to help him, and at last they heard him say, "Now the salmon are beginning to eat my belly." And very slowly he went to the bottom. Now when Anartek woke again to his senses, he had become a salmon. But his father was obliged to go back alone, and from that time, having no son, he must go out hunting as if he had been a young man, and he never again rode up to those reindeer grounds where they had hunted before. And now that Anartek had thus become a salmon, he went with the others in the spring, and when the rivers break up, out into the sea to grow fat. But his father, greatly wishing to go once more to their old hunting grounds, went there again as chief of a party, after many years had passed. His daughters rode for him, and when they came in near to the base of the fjord, he thought of his son and began to weep. But his son, coming up from the sea with the other salmon, saw the umiak and his father in it, weeping. Then he swam to it and caught hold of the paddle with which his father steered. His father was greatly frightened at this, and drew his paddle out of the water and said, "Anartek had nearly pulled the paddle from my hand that time." And for a long while he did not venture to put his paddle in the water again. When he did so at last, he saw that all his daughters were weeping. And a second time Anartek swam quickly up to the umiak. Again the father tried to draw in his paddle when the son took hold of it, but this time he could not move it. And then at last he drew it quite slowly to the surface, in such a way that he drew his son up with it. And then Anartek became a man again, and hunted for many years to feed his kin. A hunter who lived by himself found when he returned to the place after an absence that it had been visited and everything put in order as a dutiful wife should do. This happened so often with no visible signs of tracks that the man determined to watch and see who would scrape his skin, clothing, and boots, hang them out to dry, and cook nice hot food ready to be eaten when he returned. One day he went away as if going off on a hunt, but secreted himself so as to observe the entrance of anything into the house. After a while he saw a fox enter. He suspected that the fox was after food. He quietly slipped up to the house, and on entering saw a most beautiful woman dressed in skin clothing of wondrous make. Within the house, on a line, hung the skin of a fox. The man inquired if it was she who had done these things. She replied that she was his wife, and it was her duty to do them, hoping that she had performed her labor in a manner satisfactory to him. After they had lived together a short time, the husband detected a musky odor about the house, and inquired of her what it was. She replied that she admitted the odor, and if he was going to find fault with her for it, she would leave. She dashed off her clothing, and, resuming the skin of the fox, quietly slipped away, and has never been disposed to visit a man since that time. One summer day, Kazurtok, the red fox, left her brood of cubs in the den and went out in search of something to eat. On a vast plain, she met Aklek, the brown bear, and said, "Cousin, it has been a long time since I last saw you. What is the matter with you?" "I am hungry," replied Aklek. "Me too, I really am," said Kazurtok. "Let's hunt together. You go this way, and I shall go that way." "There's nothing this way but ptarmigan," complained Aklek, "and they are afraid of me. Every time I get close to them, they fly away." "It is easy for me to catch them," remarked the fox. "But," she added, "I am afraid of men." "I am not afraid of men," said Aklek, "but I am unable to catch ptarmigan." "In that case," declared Kazurtok, "wait for me here. I shall go and get you some ptarmigan. I shall not be long." Aklek waited, and Kazurtok soon returned with a few ptarmigan. The brown bear was full of joy and thanked his companion again and again. He was very hungry and ate the ptarmigan at once. When he had finished, he said, "You are very kind to bring me some ptarmigan. In return, I shall now bring you a man. Wait for me here." Kazurtok waited, but the bear took a long time to return. And when he did arrive, he had no man. Instead, he staggered along. He was losing blood, and behind him the ground was red. A man had shot an arrow at him and had wounded him in the side. The shaft of the arrow had broken, and the point remained in the flesh. Kazurtok sympathized. "Cousin, I feel sorry for you. Let me take care of you." Kazurtok built a stone fireplace, lit a fire, and heated some stones. "Stretch out here," she told the bear. "Stretch your legs, and even if I hurt you, do not move. If you stir, you will die because I shall not be able to remove the arrow." The bear stretched on the ground. The fox took a red-hot stone from the fire and applied it to the wound, pushing harder and harder on it. Aklek moaned and howled with pain, but soon the howl stopped. He was dead. Kazurtok stood on her hind legs and danced round the bear, laughing loudly. "I can brag to myself. No one could do this but I. I have enough to eat for a long time." The fox did not return to her lair, but remained at this place for the duration of the summer, feeding herself on the meat of the bear. When winter came, she had run out of provisions. The bear had all been eaten, but there was nothing left but the bones. She placed them in a pile and buried them under some boulders. A while later, she saw Amarok, the wolf, coming toward her and went to meet him. "How are you, cousin?" "Not too well," answered Amarok. "I am very hungry." "Have confidence in me," said Kazurtok. "I shall show you what you have to do to get some food. Do you see that river in front of us?" She pointed to a nearby river covered with a thin coating of ice. Here and there, water could be seen through holes in the ice. "Go over there," suggested Kazurtok. "Try to catch some trout. I am going to make you a fish hook. All you have to do is sit near the hole, tie the hook to your tail, and let it sink to the bottom. Remain seated and do not move until the sun sets. At that time, you will pull in your hook. There will be trout caught on it. Believe me, that is how I caught mine." The wolf sat beside the hole without moving. Meanwhile, the red fox set out along the shore, saying that she was going to look for something to eat. Instead, she hid behind a small hill to watch the wolf, but being careful that he not see her. Amarok stayed where he was for the entire day, confidently awaiting the results of his fishing. By the time the sun reached the west, he realized he had caught nothing. He growled in anger. "Kazhertok lied to me. I am going to run after and eat her." He tried to get up, but his tail was stuck to the ice. He pulled on it again and again until all of it suddenly came free. His tail had broken. Frothing with rage and bleeding profusely, the wolf searched the plain for traces of Kazhertok. The fox, however, had slipped away to hide in her hole. The wolf soon discovered her den and cried, "Come out of your hole so that I can eat you." "What are you saying?" answered Kazhertok, sticking her head out of her den to look. As she did so, she bent her head to one side and kept one of her eyes closed. "I have never seen you before. What do you want?" "You deceived me today, and I have lost my tail. Now I am going to eat you." "I know nothing about that," replied Kazhertok, emerging from her hole. "Did you ask that red fox over there? It must be him. I heard someone pass my door a little while ago." Impatiently, the wolf left Kazhertok to run after the other red fox. Kazhertok saw him go and kept watching until the wolf fell from his wound. By the next morning, having lost all of his blood, Amarok was dead. Kazhertok stood up on her hind legs and started dancing in circles around him. "I can boast to myself, no one could do this but I." She lived on the wolf all of that winter. When she had eaten all his flesh, she made a pile of bones and went elsewhere in search of food. One day she saw coming toward her a brown female bear who looked larger and more terrifying than any bear Kazhertok had ever seen. The bear addressed the fox angrily. "Did you know my son? He left last spring to hunt, but he did not come back. I have found his bones near this hill." "I know nothing about it," answered Kazhertok. "I did not see him. I shall follow you, and you can show me where his bones are." They left together. The fox recognized the place where she had killed Aklek. Seeing that the female bear was crying, Kazhertok pretended to be full of sorrow. "Tears won't help you," she told the mother bear. "I believe I know who killed your son. Wait here a while for me." Kazhertok climbed to the top of the hill. From this vantage point, she looked in all directions and saw another brown bear. She returned in haste to the female bear and said, "The one who killed your son is over there. Go and attack him. He is big and strong, but I shall help you." While the bears fought, Kazhertok jumped around pretending to help. In fact, she only splattered blood on her hair. At length, the female bear killed the other bear. They turned to the fox and said gratefully, "You helped me. Thank you. Take all this meat. I am tired and wounded and do not want any of it." The bear started homeward, but died of her wounds before she was out of sight. Kazhertok once again danced for joy and was happy. The two bears would provide plenty of meat for a long time to come.
Like, subscribe. Thank you.